Hey everyone, it's July 7th, 2022, and I'm not sure when I'll have this uploaded, and I just thought about sharing this story if you're interested. I'm not forcing anyone to listen to my stories, but I thought maybe I'd share something where I kind of faced my fear 5 years ago at Orange Coast College. It was an English class. Yes, I hate English class. I love creative writing and such, but the reading and the analyzing and the annotating and all that stuff was kind of a bit of a nightmare. At Orange Coast College, I took English 99, and then I took English 100 freshman composition, and then I had a choice: English 101, which is fiction literature, English 102, which is nonfiction, English 109, which is science. And I already determined that I would prefer nonfiction over fiction because you could apply nonfiction, and either of those three were good for graduation. So I was stuck between 102 and 109. I like science, and I was just wondering if it would transfer, and I thought I confirmed that. And then it was August 29th, 2014, the first day of classes, and it just so happened to be a hybrid of 102 and 109. So on December 12th, 2014, when I was done with that class, I'm like, yes, I never have to set foot in an English class ever again. But unfortunately, Vanguard University does not transfer 102 or 109, so I had to take 101 because they wanted to see literature in the class description. So I had to take another English class. So in the spring of 2017, long story short, I had an academic burnout. It was very depressing, and I just took the semester off. I mean, I started the semester, I was taking calculus and chemistry, and by early March I just had to drop them. So I just had to spend the next 3 months recuperating from early March to early June 2017. So I recuperated by going through pictures and scanning pictures and putting some on Facebook, as well as watching science videos and also getting into plane spotting. And this was the time where I really started to take pictures of planes and everything. And by mid-April, I would say, I started to go through my trilogy again. And I started with book 1, I went to book 3, and by early June I started to get things ready for my anthology, my book that I have now, and I started to get that all organized and written throughout the summer of 2017. So like from June to mid-July 2017 I was writing my book. At the same time, I went back to Orange Coast College and started English 101 class. So it was June 12th, 2017. I had a Tuesday, Thursday class, and I forget, but I believe it was like a 4.5 hour class, English class, with like a 20-minute break in between, twice a week. And that's because the summer session is always double the work because it's 8 weeks as opposed to the traditional 16 weeks. But I'm like, this is the only class that I'm taking, and I'm going to do whatever I can to just make the best of it. And so June 12th, 2017 was the first day, and earlier I emailed the teacher for an advanced copy of the syllabus, and she gave it to me, and I started to read ahead, and I read the first story before class began. And I was like there like an hour or so early, and it was The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. And then class began. I was there in the front row. I always place myself in the front row since like middle school, just to show people that I love school, and I just want to encourage other people to love school and sit in the front row too. But for an English class, I was in the front row, but I was off to the side, like at the corner and such, just to also serve as an archetype that I don't necessarily like English. And there was actually a dean, I believe, who came in to the first day of the class at the very beginning. And I believe he was saying, look, there's like no one in the front row except for that person, pointing at me. And he actually said, and he was here early, I saw him like a half hour or an hour ago. But long story short, no pun intended, those 8 weeks were very, very pleasant. The professor was extraordinarily nice and allowed us to have a dialogue and to bring up what we thought about the reading. And I actually got heavily involved in that class. I would speak up a lot, and there were actually a lot of biblical allusions, and since I'm a Christian, I know a lot about the Bible, and I got to speak about what I know along with other things that I interpreted from the text, which means that you thoroughly read the text. And I'm just thankful that most of the short stories that we read in that anthology had the audio somewhere on YouTube. And so the first 2/3 of the course were short stories and 2 essays, an inductive reasoning and a deductive reasoning. And I was heavily pouring out my thoughts and ideas of interpretation and such in those essays, and I did a decent job on those essays. And then the latter third was a novel by Barbara Kingsolver, The Bean Trees. And that turned out to be a very nice novel. And the third and final essay was based on that novel. And in that unit, I was pretty vocal. I mean, I kept on raising my hand and offering my interpretations and such. And there was even one part where I said, okay, this is the last time, I promise I'm not going to speak for the rest of the class, but I just have to say this. So, English 101, literature, fiction, not nonfiction like I like, and my worst fear in English class, a lot of reading and such, turned out to be a very amicable, friendly class. So friendly classmates, friendly teacher, great stories and such. I ended up getting an A in that class, and that was the summer of 2017. So it went from like June 12th to like the first week of August 2017. And so that was 5 years ago, precisely a half decade ago, that I took that class, and I'm not complaining at all about that class. So again, it was 5 years ago, 2017, and in the summertime, again, it was one of the most depressing years of my life, one of quite a few, and those memories in the English class helped make 2017 a bit better than it was. Anyway, I just thought I'd share a story about facing my fears. I know it wasn't heroic as the title conveyed, because it's just an English class, I know. But I mean, I love math and I love science, and that's the fear of many people, so I guess I can make it up there. So I thought I'd share, maybe it was encouraging, especially those with autism, and I guess a lot of people with autism does not like reading necessarily. I have a short story in my book called The Struggles of Reading and Test Taking. I just can't keep my mind from talking and distracting me, and that's kind of why reading is a struggle for me. So anyway, I thought I'd share, stay encouraged, and have a nice day.